Welcome to the broadcast. Tonight, the President of Pakistan, Pervez Musharraf.
Let me assure you, sir, I am not doing anyone a favor. I am doing Pakistan a favor. And we believe, Pakistan Army believes, that we need to protect Pakistan from the effects of terrorism and extremism and Taliban and Talibanization by fighting Al-Qaeda and Taliban. So let this be clear, because people should ask if we were doing it for someone else. Let me assure you, I and the Pakistan Army are doing this for ourselves, and secondly, for anyone else in the world.
Musharraf for the hour, coming up. Pervez Musharraf is the President of Pakistan, a critical ally in the fight against terrorism. He is in the United States for consultation with President Bush. Musharraf addressed the United Nations General Assembly last week. This week, he meets with President Bush and President Hamid Karzai of Afghanistan. His new book, a memoir titled In the Line of Fire, is published today. It has already attracted attention for claims that former Deputy Secretary of State Richard Armitage told the Director General of Pakistan's intelligence agency after the attacks on 9/11 that Pakistan had a choice to make. In his book, Musharraf said Armitage told his intelligence chief, and then he told Musharraf, quote, not only that we had to decide whether we were with America with the terrorist, but that if we chose the terrorist, then we should be prepared to be bombed back to the Stone Age. Armitage denies using that language with the intelligence chief, but acknowledges that the message was strong. Musharraf decided to join the United States in the war on terror. In the 5 years since 9/11, President Bush and others have frequently cited Pakistan's contribution. However, there are growing concerns that Taliban militants are using Pakistan as a sanctuary and for training camps. In his new book, Musharraf defends his country's role in the war on terror. He argues that it is the Karzai government that needs to do more along the border. Musharraf himself has survived 3 assassination attempts. He continues as the head of the military and the head of government. He was born in 1943 in New Delhi, which is today the capital of India. His family left for Pakistan in 1947 during the partition of the Indian subcontinent. After high school, he joined the Army, and in 1998 he was appointed Chief of Army Staff. In 1999, he seized power in a coup. We met to talk about these issues late this afternoon in a New York hotel. Here is that exclusive one-hour conversation. Mr. President, thank you very much for sitting for this conversation.
My pleasure.
In the Line of Fire is your memoir, which is published today.
Yes, it is.
In the Line of Fire seems an appropriate title for your memoir. Does it not?
I think so. That's why I selected it.
You will meet in Washington with President Karzai and President Bush.
Yes.
On Tuesday or Wednesday. There seems to be a dispute between you and President Karzai, even though you went to Afghanistan and talked to him, as to whether Taliban leaders are finding a haven in Pakistan, being financed through Pakistan, and receiving intelligence through Pakistan.
So this is exactly what we need to understand. We need to have a clear idea of the realities on ground. Otherwise our strategy will be wrong and we will lose the battle. Taliban emerged in 1995 in Afghanistan under Mullah Omar. Mullah Omar has never been to Pakistan once since then. Why would he be there? And Taliban, who emerged in Afghanistan, in Kandahar and southern provinces, swept the whole of Afghanistan in 1.5 years. They controlled it till 9/11, for 6 years. Who were they? Were they from Pakistan? So why would these be now from Pakistan? They are the same stock, same people, same Mullah Omar and his command echelon. There is support from across the border from our side, and we need to tackle that. We need to separate any support going from our side. As far as financial is concerned, where are they getting the money from? Pakistan certainly doesn't have that. We are not that rich that we can finance anything. It is through poppy growth. And there is tremendous amount of poppy growth. It is through that, through this narcotics trade, drug trade, that they get money, that their soldiers are paid. This we know. Now anyone who doesn't realize this is going wrong, because his basic perception of the reality on ground is wrong. His strategy will be wrong.
Let me take a look at each of those points. First, that Mullah Omar has never been to Pakistan.
Yeah, never.
You can categorically say that he is not in Pakistan.
I am almost dead sure he is not there.
the other point is that President Karzai says, other people, including a NATO general, a RAND Institute professor, all say, contradict what you say, that in fact there is a safe haven. And you simply say they're wrong.
No. Let me put it right. I never said there is no safe haven. There are people who are supporting. There are Taliban on our side who are supporting the Taliban across the border. I said they are the same ethnic stock. And there are Taliban. In Pakistan, the Pakhtuns are divided into Taliban Pakhtun and non-Taliban Pakhtun.
But my impression is the Taliban, not just people who support the Taliban themselves seek a safe haven in Pakistan.
They do come across, yes, they do come across. They have support on our side of the border. But the main core of Taliban, Mullah Umar, his command echelon, and the main core is in Afghanistan, is in Kandahar in the southern region, because they are the ones who ruled Afghanistan for 6 years. They are the same people. The same people. They didn't, from 95 to 2001, 9/11, it was not from Pakistan side that they did that. So where have they gone? Isn't it the same Taliban? Well, it's very easy to understand this. It doesn't need any stretch of imagination to understand. It's the same Taliban.
Do you believe they're in resurgence?
They are. Yes, they are.
And how much of a threat are they today to destabilizing Afghanistan?
Well, the danger is in the ethnic Taliban as a people, as an ethnic group, joining the Taliban and starting a people's war against foreign holding. That is the disastrous danger existing. Therefore, I say, with an understanding of the environment, we need to separate the people from the Taliban and not treat all Pakhtun as Taliban. That is where we'll go wrong.
And how do you do that?
We have done it on our side, exactly what we've done. In North Waziristan Agency, that is one of the tribal agencies, we have reached an accord, a peace treaty, through a grand jirga, which means an assembly of elders. These are the tribal elders. Now these tribal elders were the people who actually had influence over the entire tribes before the Taliban emerged. After Taliban emerged, their writ, the writ of the tribal elders, got gradually eroded and shifted to the Taliban. We need to get that back. Now when we have reached an accord with them, we put 3 bottom lines: no Al-Qaeda activity, no Taliban activity, and no Talibanization on our side or across the border. And they have signed this accord, the tribal elders. It is now incumbent on them, having signed, and they have a certain code of honor and code of conduct, that they will be in the lead role against anyone who opposes this deal that they have struck with us.
Some interpret the deal you've struck as to say to them, we're going to leave you alone. That the nature of the agreement, and even as it concerns Osama bin Laden, if he's alive. By the way, you believe he's still alive?
Yes, I think so. Absolutely.
And is he mobile? Is he able to move around?
I presume so. I wouldn't be very sure, but I presume so.
Why has it taken so long? Because it's part of the same issue we're talking about. Who controls what area, which side of the border, to get Osama bin Laden?
Yeah. May I answer the first part?
Yes,
that you said that there's a deal with those people. Now,
was to leave them alone.
Yeah, leave them alone. Now leave whom alone? This is the whole, these are misperceptions which are being created, sometimes by President Karzai himself. Now, we must understand, we have struck a deal with the Pakhtun tribal elders. They are not Taliban. Now, anyone who does this mistake of treating all the Pakhtuns as Taliban is creating a disastrous blunder. The people, all the Pakhtuns will rise as a people as they rose against the Soviets. Never do this. This is what I am continuously saying, that everyone seems to be asking me, you've struck a deal with pro-Taliban or Taliban. Now this is the problem. We have struck a deal with the tribal elders. Who is saying they are Taliban?
Let me ask this. Is there any question that the President of Pakistan the military in Pakistan, the ISI in Pakistan, all three are committed to the defeat of the Taliban.
Yes. Now, 500%, for the reason which we must understand. Let me assure you, sir, I am not doing anyone a favor. I am doing Pakistan a favor. And we believe, Pakistan Army believes, that we need to protect Pakistan from the effects of terrorism and extremism and Taliban and Talibanization by fighting Al-Qaeda and Taliban. So let this be clear, because people should ask if we were doing it for someone else. Let me assure you, I and the Pakistan Army are doing this for ourselves, and secondly, for anyone else in the world.
Is there some question about Indians trying to establish some consulates on the Afghan border?
Yes.
Is that a problem for you?
Yes, that is correct. They have consulates in Kandahar, they have a consulate in Jalalabad. Now these are next to our border. And I don't find any reason why they should be there whatsoever.
So one more point of conflict with India.
Well, this is a point of difference which I have pointed out everywhere.
Let me go to Osama bin Laden. There's so many things to touch on. You believe, Karzai says, President Karzai said he is not in Afghanistan. I won't tell you he's in Pakistan because I don't want to offend President. But you're sure he's not in Pakistan?
No, I've never said that.
You're not sure?
I've never said that. I've always said probably he is somewhere on the border, probably again. I can't even be sure where. But I have said, seeing the pictures that one sees on the television that they themselves release, the mountains and the trees, I know these areas. Maybe the Bajor agency and Kunar province where Americans are operating now. This is the area maybe is there, because we also know that we are seeing signs of Al-Qaeda on our side. So therefore, maybe he's on the border, switching sides on both sides. In Kunar province, there were no operations going on, there was a void. So I would ask anyone, I would like to ask President Karzai, if there is a void somewhere, where would I hide? I would certainly, I've been trained as a commando, I am trained in guerrilla warfare. I would go into the mountains in the void. Why would I be somewhere where there are people and where there are some elements where there is intelligence element also there? It's pure common sense. But if somebody was to ask me to substantiate, no, I can't. I don't know it. I don't know it.
And you do not have enough control over the border because of all the factors we've been talking about before. You can't send your army in there to find out.
Now, we've got, if anyone knows this border, there are 7 tribal agencies extending from our north, which almost touches China, and goes down all along Afghanistan to our Baluchistan province. Now, this is, I think, about 400 miles. If you know the heights of the mountains, these are somewhere between 10,000 to 18,000 feet. There are no roads. Even the British never entered these places. British had one single road maybe in each tribal agency in those 7, and they were allowed to go on those roads on road opening days for 200 years. This is the literacy level is under 10%. Now these are fiercely independent people. Every man carries a weapon. Now, we have inducted 80,000 troops in North Waziristan and South Waziristan. We fought them in South Waziristan when we captured 5 of their sanctuaries in valleys where they were in hundreds. And then they ran into North Waziristan. There they are in the mountains in smaller penny packets. We have captured, eliminated them from their logistic bases, from their command base, from their propaganda bases in the valleys. Now we are there. Now 80,000 troops are even short. If I may tell you that in Kashmir, Indians have 700,000 troops. And still they keep saying there is line of control infiltration.
Right.
So what do you expect 80,000 troops to manage? And secondly, who has given all the responsibility to Pakistan for manning the border and ensuring nobody passes through? What is the responsibility of the Afghans themselves? Why don't they look after their border themselves?
Fair question for President Karzai. But you do not want United States troops in Pakistan looking for Osama bin Laden.
No, that's a sensitivity.
That's a sovereignty issue for you.
Yes, a very, very, very serious issue. Not only sovereignty of Pakistan, but the tribals here are Pakhtuns, as I said. Even the Britishers never entered. it is for the first time in the history of this place for over, I don't know, centuries, that Pakistan Army, through deals with them after 9/11, we entered and we started reconstruction activity. Now they fiercely guard their independence. They don't even want the army there, but we went in to reconstruct and dealt with the tribal elders there at that time. Now if foreigners come in, certainly it's a very, very big sensitivity.
9/11 changed everything. For you, for Pakistan, for the United States, for Afghanistan.
For the world.
For the world. After 9/11, what were your thoughts when you first heard about the attack on 9/11?
Well, my concern immediately was Pakistan and the protection of Pakistan and the security of Pakistan.
That Pakistan might come under attack also?
Well, Pakistan was in the line initially when United States fired some missiles into against the Taliban. A number of them landed in Pakistan, by the way. So obviously Afghanistan is a landlocked country. If action has to be taken there, obviously Pakistan will be required. When we fought the Soviets for 10 years, it was Pakistan which had to be in the lead role. Everything was happening through Pakistan. So we obviously would have been sucked into it.
Then there's the question of Richard Armitage, the
Yes.
former Deputy Secretary of State, the best friend of Colin Powell, the former Secretary of State. What happened? You couldn't tell the world last week because this book hadn't been published. The book has been published.
Yes.
Tell us what happened.
Yes. Now, firstly, let me clarify both of them, Secretary Colin Powell and Richard Armitage, are good friends of mine.
I assume that's
respect
why
them.
they sent Secretary Armitage,
Yes.
because he was such a good friend of
Yes,
yours.
yes. He is a friend, and in that, wherever I've written about this, I've
Yeah.
also praised him, because we ended up good friends, and I think he's a very straight, very upfront, and a very good man. Now, having said that, now what happened? As far as Secretary Colin Powell, yes, I spoke to him. He rang me up, and we had a short talk of maybe about 5 minutes.
What did he say?
He certainly said that on terrorism, we have to fight terrorism. And he was annoyed worked up on whatever happened. Obviously, everyone was. Then he said, I want to ask you whether on terrorism, are you with us? Either you are with us or you are against us.
Repeating the President's words.
Yes. Now, I didn't take much time. I said, as far as terrorism is concerned, we are the victims of terrorism and we will fight terrorism. We are with you to fight terrorism. So that was all that we discussed. Now, as far as Richard Armitage, I didn't talk to him. He didn't ring me up. I got a message, I think it was either on the second or the third day, from my DGISI, that he had a meeting with Richard Armitage, and he was very rough, and these are the words that he told him.
We will bomb you back to the Stone Age.
Yes.
Unless you're with us.
Yes. So these are the facts which I know. Whether Richard Armitage said those or not, I don't know.
We have a conflict now. You have what your intelligence chief said to you.
Yes. That's what I've written.
Stone Age is what he said. Bomb you back to the Stone Age.
Exactly what I've written there.
Richard Armitage says, I may have used tough language, but I would never say that because I didn't have the authority to say that.
No comments.
Oh, come
This
on.
is what I got.
How do you... Somebody is not...
Speaking the truth.
Okay. Not you, because you're not party to it.
I am speaking the truth. I know what was told to me.
Told to you.
Yeah.
Now, have you called your intelligent person and said, well, Armitage says he didn't say that.
No,
That's
no,
what you told me. What's the
do
problem
that.
here?
I didn't do that. I didn't do that. No. Because I really don't want to make it an issue. Why should we make this an issue?
One thing about the Armitage business, you told 60 Minutes that you felt it was rude, if those words were used, rude and did not please you.
Yes, yes, of course. Yes, they were rude. My own mental makeup, frankly, is to confront. I mean, I have been taught confrontation. I've been trained to confront. So my first reaction, obviously, is to an offensive statement, counter-offensive.
Why didn't
But then,
or did you?
well, I don't know. I must have said something rude also, but I didn't mean you go and tell him this exactly. But I think when states are involved, when national issues or regional or maybe international situations come up, personal bravados, I think leadership, it depends on our leader to put personal bravados aside and think of bigger than self.
You know, even the president said he may have used the wrong language at times over the last 5 years. You like Armitage, and you
Very
think
much.
he's smart, clear-headed,
Very much.
a wise
Yes.
understanding
Yes.
of international affairs.
Absolutely. Yes.
Have you spoken to him since this arose?
Yes. He called on me day before yesterday,
Yes.
and he did try to explain the position. He came to know.
And he said, I did not say?
Yes. He said I did not.
And
He said I was very rough, but he didn't use these words.
That's what he said. Yeah. But if he'd tell you, it seemed like he's obviously telling the truth. I mean, he wouldn't call you up to tell you.
Well, yes.
I assume with the stakes so high, you speak with candor to the President and to the Secretary of Defense and to the Vice President and to the Secretary of State. Do you tell them, do you believe that we would be in a better place if we'd stayed in Afghanistan and taken care of Al-Qaeda, even though it's been successful in many ways because of your help, and not gone to Iraq?
No, frankly,
You think the Iraqi war was necessary?
I haven't discussed that, frankly. I haven't discussed on the necessity of the war or the requirement of going in or not, but I certainly have been saying quite openly that it has led to increase in tensions and increase in the problems as a result of Iraq, and now as a result of Lebanon, a further increase in the problems, and in fact worse still, the room for maneuver of moderates, I include myself in those, gets reduced when you do such things.
Help me understand that. Your room to maneuver is compounded by the response to Iraq first and then Lebanon, but Iraq first.
Yes.
How does it affect a moderate? Why is your maneuverability
because
restricted?
of the domestic perception of the people. Now the
Anti-United States, and you're considered a friend of the United States.
Yes.
Puts you politically vulnerable.
No, because I am friendly with the United States, no, I am not. For the reason, let me explain. Yes, we are, let's understand Pakistan and the people of Pakistan. For 42 years, from 47 to 89, we were the most allied ally of United States for 42 years. And when we were fighting in the lead role, the Soviets,
Right.
everything was happening through Pakistan. The people of Pakistan were very comfortable. There was no problem. From
And the
89,
Soviet Union was very close to India.
yes, and Indians were your enemies, United States. They were in the eastern camp with Soviet Union.
Right.
We were your ally. Then 89 to 01, 12 years, we became the most sanctioned ally. Our F-16s were stopped, sanctions. There were 5 levels of sanctions, Symington and Pressler and I don't know what all.
Right.
And United States gets into strategic relations with India. Look at the impact on the people of Pakistan. 4 million refugees come into Pakistan, and everyone has gone and left us high and dry after 89. We are left high and dry to fend for ourselves. 4 million refugees fighting, and Taliban emerge, and everyone is criticizing, why are we on the side of Taliban? Oh, you've left us all alone. We have to look only after our own interest all alone, with 4 million people in Afghans inside Pakistan, and they are mostly, all of them, mostly or 95% of them are Pakhtuns. Now this is the situation for 12 years, and the F-16s had a great impact. Do you know that F-16s were not given? We had paid the money, $600 million. We were charged, we were asked for money for the parking of these F-16s, which were ours and were not given. Finally, we were told that we will give you wheat and soya bean, and we got wheat and soya bean for those in exchange for the F-16s in the year 2000. And that too we said, okay, we will collect the soya bean and wheat in our own ships. But they also know the ships are going to be ours, and the rate of those ships would double the amount that we would have got otherwise. All this is known by the people of Pakistan, that when we were needed for 42 years, we were used, and then we were ditched. Now this we are trying to recover in these last, after 9/11. So at the government level, the relationship is very good, I would say. And the people also understand what I am doing. I am very confident that they understand that the way forward, our relations, developing relations with the United States is advantageous to us economically and from all points of view. But the man in the street will take time to get back to the same attitude of pre-89, frankly. And especially when Lebanon happens or Iraq happens, it further exacerbates the attitude of the man in the street.
How deep?
Because they see United States to be on the other side, when United States is seen to be on the Israeli side, on Palestine. So it's United States is unfortunately being seen by the man in the street to be anti-Muslim. That needs to be corrected.